Harry and Meghan were humiliated when they privately contacted Catherine and William, but were flatly rejected by William. The royal family had to toughen their teeth even more when Catherine got cancer, and Harry and Meghan tried to seize the opportunity to return after the American dream has collapsed. That's the main content of today's newsletter. Welcome back. Hello, I'm Samuel, and welcome to Royal the King News YouTube channel. So Harry and Meghan decided to let the media know through their sources that they have made private contact with Catherine and William. Well, I think we have a pretty good idea of how that went down. And their public statement, they're claiming they hope that Catherine and her family would be able to recover privately and in peace. But then within 24 hours, they had to make sure the entire world knew that they made direct contact with William and Catherine. They just had to leak it to ITV. And since they were leaking this news to the media, they thought it was better to let everybody know that nobody bothered to tell them before Catherine's public announcement. Oh, poor babies. Well, I wonder why. It's funny to me that Harry and Meghan are so desperate to make us believe that they're still connected to the royal family. So we're not hearing that William refused the call. I'm sure he did. I mean, they're claiming they wish Catherine privacy and peace in her recovery. Well, I guess that only starts to apply after they have milked their own publicity from her tragedy. And, let's not forget, we've got to give Harry and Meghan their privacy too. They sure didn't bother calling up her father after his heart attacks or his stroke to make him feel better. They certainly didn't bother wishing Catherine well in January after her surgery. They're only saying something now because Meghan Markle started her latest brand relaunch, and the counselor announcement has really messed with her plans to get as much attention for herself as possible. And I'm sure what they're going to do over the next few weeks is going to be disgusting. You know, there's about to be an explosion of publicity from Harry and Meghan, the privacy warriors. I do hope, though, the media don't fall for it. I hope they do not give those two what they want. And they're going to claim that, they just felt so much stress because they didn't find out about Catherine before we did. And it also must be because of racism. It's because of Meghan's skin color. That's why they didn't know these two idiots. Though they do know one thing, they can never repair this or go home to their families. I just think they're so idiotic. They somehow are convinced they can weasel their way back into the royal family, but they are incredibly mistaken. That ship sailed a long time ago. It doesn't really make sense that Harry and Meghan claim they talked directly. That would have been impossible. They would have needed to talk through Kensington Palace. What I heard is that the Prince of Wales was too busy to talk to Harry. So a message was passed along. At this point, I don't think anyone in the royal family wants to talk directly with Harry and Meghan. They can't be trusted. And the part about not telling them before Catherine's public announcement says it all. I guess even the extended family was informed not just to be polite, but also so they'd know it was happening and could react. In their statement, they even used that nickname Kate, which is disrespectful. Harry and Meghan are aware of that. It's just so disrespectful and incredibly cruel. And why would the royals bother telling them anything after all they've done? You know, they're just going to use this tragic news for their own publicity. They're so appalling. Ever since the royal family told Harry about the Queen's body being transported by train, things have been tense. And then Scooby-Doo 2 spread that fake information. The royal family knows they can never talk with Harry about anything other than maybe the weather. Recently, Meghan also announced that she was having a photo shoot with her kids. But it's a glamorous photo shoot of the children that the public can't see. I guess there were no kids around. When she shows up on her lifestyle blog, she's in trouble. I mean, if you've had kids, especially when they're very young, they're always with you. Even when you go to the bathroom, you have no privacy at all. I remember when I was a young mom, one of my kids needed something while I was trying to use the toilet. I just asked for some privacy. So he goes into my bedroom, opens a drawer, and comes back saying, "Mama, I think you're all out of privacy." I couldn't agree more. But when you have invisible children, you don't have to worry about that. They won't follow you around because they're just dolls and can't move. Anyway, let's get back on topic. How would anyone even know if those messages were real, let alone what they said? Harry and Meghan just had to tell the media they sent those messages to seem concerned. If they truly wanted the Prince and Princess of Wales to be left alone, they would have stayed quiet. And I doubt William would appreciate Harry's fake well wishes. Harry and Meghan have caused so much stress and heartache for Catherine and William and the king too. There's no way William will be able to forgive or forget any of that. Honestly, I don't think there's anything left from this awful pair to shock or disgust us anymore. We just have to wait for them to come out from wherever they're hiding to attack again. They're not looking for opportunities for self-promotion. They're just obstacles. They're abusers. They're pathetic and evil. Making private phone calls only adds to their repulsiveness. It's sickening. After hearing about Catherine's cancer diagnosis, Harry and Meghan saw it as their chance to return to the royal family. So what's the conclusion of all this media drama about Princess Catherine, the edited photo, and the allegedly missing husband and father-in-law? Well, it's simple. Princess Catherine is battling cancer, and she just wants her privacy, as does William. The king is going to try to fulfill his duties as best as he can. Maybe it's time for the media to be reminded of its boundaries. I hear that's happening now with Stephen Colbert for his rude and unfunny remarks about the royals. But there's still pressure from the media trying to reunite the Sussexes and the royals. They're fixated on this Hollywood-style happy ending, which just won't happen. Why do they keep going on like this? I mean, did any of these journalists and experts ever consider that maybe some actors in those happy Hollywood ending movies went home to pretty miserable lives? It's obvious. The royal families have plenty of problems among them. Like often happens with divorced couples who realize they're better off apart, the royal family should have the same option. There was an attempt for the Sussexes and the royals to work together as senior royals, but it didn't go well. Meghan's decision to go on Oprah caused a lot of suspicion towards a family that didn't deserve it. If Meghan was unhappy as a senior royal, nobody was forcing her to stay. She and Harry had every right to leave and build their lives elsewhere. But the issue is, Meghan is struggling because she can't find a job. Is it because of racial prejudice like she claims? Absolutely not. It's because she lacks talent. Meghan Markle can't generate income, and no matter where you work, whether it's for the royal family or a US corporation, there's no escaping the fact that work is involved. So Meghan has to find someone else to blame for her problems and failures, and who's more convenient than the royal family, especially Catherine. And then Harry seems consumed by jealousy towards his older brother. From what I've observed, Meghan and Harry share a true bond. Now, I believe they truly care about each other. I mean, they probably need each other because nobody else seems to want them. It seems like they rely on each other to fulfill their fantasies. But if I were a member of the royal family, I'd steer clear of those two. Actually, even though I'm not part of the royal family, I still plan to keep my distance from them. And the media shouldn't meddle either. They're not peacemakers or counselors. Let's be real here. They don't know what they're talking about. They should just report the news as it is, not how they wish it to be. Objectivity, in my opinion, still matters in journalism. But maybe that's just me. All these conspiracy theories and mean jokes are really tiresome. And you know what? If they keep it up, they're going to regret it. They're going to lose respect, maybe even credibility, like Stephen Colbert is facing right now. I'm sure lawsuits will be on their way. Who needs this? When I heard that Rose Hanbury was taking legal action against Stephen Colbert, I thought, bravo, it's about time. When I learned about Catherine's cancer diagnosis, it hit me hard because it reminded me of my own family members who battled cancer. It brought back those feelings of shock and pain after their diagnosis. But bringing Harry and Meghan back into the royal family isn't the solution. It seems like the media is fixated on the idea that the Sussexes are still family. Well, what's their definition of family? Please tell me, is it about being related by blood and marriage? No, it's more than that. Family is built on trust, loyalty, love, and sacrifice. And if that's not there, then sorry, there's no real family to speak of in the media, in my opinion. They're going too far with this. I mean, this attempt at reconciliation is absurd. They should just stick to reporting the news, mind their own business, and maybe focus on sorting out their own family affairs, which I'm sure are a complete mess. Sure, being a celebrity or a royal comes with its challenges when it comes to dealing with the media, but that's the price of being in the spotlight. We could liken it to hazing, similar to what happens before someone pledges with a fraternity or sorority. Essentially, one stands out, and the media capitalizes on their celebrity status for financial gain. But in many cases, if the person simply ignores it, eventually the media will give up. They might even respect the individual for their determination. I mean, despite the media's persistence in trying to bring them down, if someone just keeps going, That can be truly admirable. But fleeing to America didn't really help Meghan and Harry. It only made them targets for mockery and ridicule. If they had stayed and maintained their dignity, they could have earned the respect and admiration they claim they didn't receive from the royals, the British public, or the media. But it was their choice to leave royal life and make fools of themselves. And now the media is pushing this idea that the Sussexes and the royals will reconcile. I guess they're just craving drama. It's almost like entertainment at this point. However, this attempt is a complete joke so far. I mean, playing the long game has worked wonders for the royal family. We've seen enough of what Harry and Meghan are capable of, and frankly, we don't want to see any more. The world has largely discredited them for trying to portray themselves as hardworking, ambitious, and misunderstood ex-royals. But the real problem lies in how the royals are also misrepresented. Portraying William as unfaithful is disgusting, and suggesting that Catherine manipulated a photo of herself and her children for deceitful purposes was just disappointing. There needs to be a line drawn. William is not unfaithful, and Catherine did not manipulate that photo in any fraudulent way. Good for Rose Hanbury for taking legal action against Stephen Colbert. Others in the media should follow suit. These so-called experts need to be more careful with their words. Maybe Piers Morgan has a point. Perhaps it's time for the royals to let go of some of their stoicism and consider fighting back, because they're dealing with two very malicious individuals. I understand that the royal family is too dignified to engage with these lowlifes because the senior royals have always been too civil, too proper, and too decent. But perhaps it's time for them to realize that they need to take real action if they want the monarchy to survive. Princess Diana, the late Princess of Wales, was rightfully known as the People's Princess. But honestly, Catherine, the current Princess of Wales, I don't even know what to call her. I might refer to her as the jewel in the British crown, because that's truly what she is. As for the Sussexes, well, I have nothing to say about them. And are people forgetting that Harry and Meghan chose to leave the royal family on their own? They claimed they wanted freedom, but then they started complaining, lying, and throwing everyone under the bus. And it wasn't just once, but every time they spoke, every interview they gave, and they're still doing it. Who would want traitors like that in their family? Who would want to constantly watch their back, cautious about what they say at the breakfast table, knowing it'll end up in the media? They wanted out of the royal family, so they're out. Let them stay where they are and keep them away, especially from King Charles, Queen Camilla, the Prince and Princess of Wales, and their children. And while we're at it, don't bother calling the Princess Royal or the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh either. Nobody in the British royal family or the Commonwealth should give them anything to continue making money off of. It's time for them to stop profiting from their alleged ties to the Sussexes and the royal family. They bring up their royal connections when they need money, but then trash them whenever they get the chance. Maybe Harry is William's biological brother, but in every other meaningful sense of family, Harry has betrayed everything that's important to William, his wife, his family, the monarchy, Britain, and the Commonwealth. Who can blame William for not wanting to take his calls? And King Charles, I understand Harry is your son, but for the sake of the monarchy in Britain, you have to completely cut ties with Harry and Meghan. They need to be publicly disassociated so that whenever they try to profit from or undermine the monarchy and its values, they can be stopped. They're making a complete mockery of King Charles' love and kindness. It's high time for the king to take a stand, and something needs to be done about Meghan Markle's disgraceful behavior. Meghan and Harry cannot be allowed to continue their appalling actions. Even if the royal family keeps ignoring them, I don't think it'll be enough to stop them. They seem determined to carry on with their absurd plans. This situation has been worsened and encouraged by the media, including social media. What will happen next? Well, it's hard to predict, honestly. Before Catherine revealed her cancer diagnosis, Meghan's antics were, how should I put it, somewhat amusing, I guess. But now things have changed, and people's lives are at risk. My prayers are with Catherine, William, and the rest of the royal family. I truly hope they can fully recover from this ordeal. As for Charles, he needs to wake up and sever ties with Harry and Meghan. I mean, in some ways, Charles is partly to blame for this ongoing situation. They're making Charles and the rest of the family look foolish. Who in the family would want to be close to those two ever again? Nobody. Meghan Markle never intended to stay in the UK. Come on, she had to go back to Canada and the USA to launch her attacks against the royal family. That was always her plan. There's no way she could have said everything she wanted to in the UK. So this was a well-orchestrated plan by Meghan Markle, the evil succubus. If I were Catherine or William, I wouldn't go near Harry and Meghan. Both of them are pure evil. They were so awful to the Queen, Philip, and now they're being really nasty to Charles and Catherine. Sadness, jealousy, and greed on a grand scale, that's what we're dealing with here. Who would want them to come back? As for you, what are your thoughts on these news reports? Please leave a comment to let us know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Royal The King News YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting our videos, and I'll see you in the next one.